So if you remember, a long time ago I took a look at this guy. We're going to do the same thing, but with the green flames. What's going on, everybody? Republic Cinema here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at this Baiwei knockoff of the Transformers Studio Series 05 Optimus Prime. To be more specific, the Nemesis Prime repaint of that knockoff of the Studio Series 05 Optimus Prime. And to be even more specific, we're going to take a look at the Green Flames version. Now, I would like to point out that I was going to do a review of this guy and the 32 version of the Green Flames Nemesis Prime before taking a look at the new Studio Series wave, but I figured why not review those newer Studio Series figures sooner? Anyways, I believe I have finally concluded the reviews for those newer Studio Series figures that came out this April. So now I think it's time we take a look at these Nemesis Prime knockoffs. Now, I know what you're saying. I've already taken a look at these knockoffs, but the thing is, those were the Purple Flames variants. Also, it has been a little over a year and a half since I've taken a look at those knockoffs, so I don't see why a sequel would hurt. As you can see, I'm starting off with the 05 mold because I'm kind of reviewing these figures by the order of which mold came out first. But before we take a closer look at this figure, let's take a quick look at his packaging, which is the red version of this Star Leader packaging. Also, nice artwork for the Bayverse Optimus. Would have been nice if they changed the artwork up a bit per paint variation. Anyways, here's the top of the box, the right, the left, the bottom, and the back. And yeah, that's the box art for this figure. Now moving back to the figure itself. To start off with the painting and sculpting, the painting's alright. It's just the sculpting that's a little off in a certain part of this figure, that being the chest. To be honest, I'm a little confused with the direction the designers at Hasbro were going with for the chest design of this figure in the first place, as in the Bayverse movies themselves, Optimus Prime did not have this piece between his chest. Also, these chest pieces over here were not that spread apart, nor were they tiny. And another inaccuracy is that this window piece and this window piece were not connected to each other, or at least not like this. Also, that head sculpt looks goofy. Why is his mouth like that? As for the details on the arms and the legs, it's alright. Although I do got a little molding problem with the feet on my copy. The kibble management is great in some parts and not so great in other parts. For example, these arm pieces do not want to tab in onto the slot over there, and this goofy flat backpack not tabbing into anything, which also leaves it as a flappy mess. Also, these kibble bits and these kibble bits over here are inaccurate, but at least they don't flap around like these arm parts and this backpack over here. Most of the joints are not too tight, not too loose, except for this knee guard over here, and the elbow joint for the left arm, and yeah, that's pretty much it for quality. Now moving on to accessories, starting off with the sidearm blades, which are exactly the same as the purple version sidearm blades. Also, I do like how this mold in particular introduced a new way you can store the sidearm blades onto Optimus's wrist. It's just, it would have been nice if they could find a way for it to just simply tab onto the side of the wrist without all this extra stuff being necessary. It's okay, that's why they fixed that later on. Anyways, here we have the Green Flames version of Nemesis Prime equipped with the swords. And then for weapon storage, this sword simply tabbing onto the back. He does also come with two more pieces, that being swappable faces. Unless you don't like this face, you could always swap it out for the more accurate looking face sculpt, which doesn't involve the mouth being black. I personally find it very unnecessary that you had to swap out the goofy mouthpiece version for the more accurate mouthpiece version in the first place. But I must say, it's a little difficult to try to take this one out. Anyways, here he is with the mouthpiece. I think we're going to keep the head like this for now. With the accessories out of the way, we can move on to articulation. Starting off ball joint at the head, which allows the head to move up and down, and swivel, full rotation at the arm, shoulder pad moves out, bend at the shoulder, bicep swivel, bend at the elbow, very tight wrist swivel, waist swivel. The legs can spread, if it weren't for these parts, now they can spread a little better. The legs can also move forward and backwards. Knee pad moves out, bend at the knee, knee swivel, and lastly the foot can rock from side to side and move up and down. But anyways, that's pretty much it for articulation. Now moving on to size comparison. Starting off with official Hasbro products, here he is next to the Studio Series 05 Optimus Prime, 32 Prime, 44 Prime, and because why not, here he is next to the Age of Extinction Optimus Prime. Okay, now time for the knockoffs. Here he is next to the Purple Flames 05 Optimus Prime, Purple Flames 32 Prime, White Ultra Magnus Prime, Clearamus Prime, Normal Baiwei 32 Prime, Shiny 32 Prime, Nemesis 38 Prime, Shattered Glass 38 Optimus Prime, 102 Nemesis Prime, and then for some Baiwei knockoffs of other Transformers, here he is next to Megatron, Ironhide, Jetfire, Shockwave, Sentinel Prime, and then lastly, here he is next to the other 05 Optimus molds that I own. I'm not gonna lie, it would have been nice to see a white Ultra Magnus repaint, and perhaps a more shinier silver shading of the original Optimus Prime knockoff. For the record, this is the official SS05 Optimus mold. You could tell because this one has stripes on the arms and the knockoff does not. Also, did I forget to mention that Baiwei did make a knockoff of this 05 mold where it's the normal Optimus Prime paint, just the painting on the arms is worse. I never got that knockoff, probably never will, unless perhaps they make a shiny silver variant, kind of like with what they did with the 32 mold. Anyways, I think it's time we finally move on to the transformation. Starting off, you're basically just going to collapse the feet, bring this up, bring the wheel down. Once you've done the same thing for the other leg, you can go ahead and collapse the two together and then leave these wheels out like so, as it's going to be important later. And then once you're done with all that, go ahead and rotate this whole section. We're going to work on the arms next. Bring this annoying piece out, bring the wrist inwards, and then close the annoying piece back in. Straighten this out, and then rotate the arm. Same thing for the other arm. After that, go ahead and untab this whole section. Same thing for the other arm. Collapse the two together through this. Also, might want to straighten that out and then close these parts in as well. You'll have a better chance at keeping all of this closed in by connecting the two arms. So to do that, you're going to rotate this arm up and then bring it up. Once you've done the same for the other arm, you can go ahead and connect the two together. Next, you're going to bring this out, untab the grills, and then bring them forward. You can also rotate them like so. Make sure they're brought all the way down, and then bring these pieces out along with their panels, and then go ahead and untab this part and bring it up like so. Untab this assembly, bring it all the way down, so you can rotate this whole head section backwards, and then bend the elbows of the arms inwards to form the top part of the nose of the truck. And then after that, close in the grill sections, make sure they tab in nicely. Tab this in, bring this section out, make sure it stays like this. Bring this panel out, make sure it aligns properly with the top panel. Bring this tube out, and then close all of this in, which does require some fiddling. Also bring this shoulder pad inwards, and then you could go ahead and close in this wheel like so. And if that wasn't complicated enough, you do the same thing for the other side. My personal recommendation on what you do next over here is to bring this whole assembly all the way down, which should give you enough clearance to bring this whole section inwards. So once you've got this out of the way, you can simply just bend these side panels and then collapse this whole section in onto the other side panels over here. Just make sure everything tabs in properly, and then connect the slot from this tube over here onto that tab. Same thing for the other side. And then you can go ahead and bring this whole assembly upwards. Just make sure that the knee pads are underneath these parts over here while you bring this whole assembly back to its normal posture, which is kind of a fiddly thing to do if you ask me. But anyways, here we have Green Flames 05 Nemesis Prime in his alt mode, which in my opinion is a goofy toy version of the Peterbilt 379. But hey, at least the smokestacks on the knockoff are a little taller than the ones on the official Hasbro version. I think what makes the truck mode look a little too inaccurate is the fact that the feet on the back of the truck stick out a little too much. But trust me, the truck mode looks a lot worse without the taller smokestacks. Also, is it just me, or are the green flames a little too bright for the truck mode? I personally have no problem with it. As a matter of fact, I think this truck mode looks a lot better with brighter green flames. For weapon storage, the swords plug in onto those slots on the bottom of the feet on the back of the truck. As for storing the extra face pieces onto any part of the truck mode, I can't say the same. For trailer compatibility, yes, this figure is compatible to the official Hasbro Studio Series SS44 Dark in the Moon Optimus Prime's trailer. It also makes a nice clicking noise for you to plug this trailer onto the hitch. Now, if you wanted something bigger, here he is next to the Baiwei version of the Studio Series 44 Optimus Prime's trailer, which in my opinion has to be the size equivalent of one of those type of trailers that you see in those semi-truck drag racing videos. Please leave a comment down below if you've seen those those type of videos. They're actually pretty cool. For a brief comparison, here he is alongside the alt mode of the Purple Flames 05 Optimus Prime, the official Hasbro Studio Series 05 Optimus Prime. As you can see, the alt mode does look a little uglier without the long smokestacks. And here he is with the two together. They all look really great in their own individual paint schemes, but be sure to leave a comment down below which one you like the most. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's all I had to say for the Baiwei knockoff of the Transformers Studio Series 05 Optimus Prime mold, specifically the Green Flames Nemesis Prime repaint. Overall, it's a nice repaint, but I'd recommend picking this figure up only if you want to get this mold in specific. Same thing for the paint. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this figure? Be sure to let me know down in the comments what you think. And if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another upload. Let me know how I did in this video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching. Teo!